You are listening to CFDb Interviews, and we're here today with Rachel Hendrix, leading actress in The Perfect Wave. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, Rachel. Do I have your permission to start recording this interview?
Absolutely.
So first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role within the Christian film industry?
Yes. First of all, my name is Rachel Hendrix, and I was never planning on becoming an actress, whatever you want to say that's politically correct. Now they make it like gender ambiguous, so you can say I'm an actor,
Right.
which I like. It's fine. I started working as an actor full time after my work with October Baby, a feature film I did in 2010. Um, yeah,
Excellent film, by the way.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're so excited about the success of that one and how many people it reached and the stories that keep rolling in. Um, Ever since that film, I've stayed quite busy with acting, and it sort of fell into my lap based on some relationships I had with filmmakers in Birmingham, Alabama. John and Andy Irwin, they'd been messing around with filmmaking since they were about 14 years old. And coincidentally, and not really coincidentally, because I don't think anything's a coincidence,
Right.
I ran into a series of people who took a chance on me and gave me my first gig as an actress. I wasn't even really trying to do anything, but I was approached in a restaurant and asked if I would be interested in shooting this drama short film. And I read the script and was like, this sounds really cool. I'm going to do this. So it ended up being really beautiful. It was directed and written by Chris Kimlin, and you can find it on YouTube. It's called Letting Go. And that was my first real exposure to professional filmmaking, professional quality filmmaking. And that was the beginning of it. So here I am, goodness, 7 years later after letting go, 8 years later, and continuing to work in the film industry, have all kinds of hopes and dreams for what that's going to look like in my 30s as I approach my 30s, and yeah, it's really been amazing to have not planned any of this and then just been willing to just take a chance and walk through those open doors, and just go for it, and not look back.
That's great. It's funny you mentioned you're in your 30s, and I was thinking, oh, I'm still thinking of you as a teenager
Well, I'm not
because of you.
yet. I'm thinking like in my 10-year plan, I'm like, okay, in 10 years, I'm going to be mid 30s, and do I want to have babies yet? And do I want to, like, I can't plan anything because every time I try to make a plan, um, it changes so quickly. Like the world around me just changes, and I just have to laugh because um, I never know what God's got around the corner. And, it's been a lot of like waiting and trusting, and He's always comes through, um, no matter what I try to do or what I put my foot into or what efforts I make to make something happen. He, he's just excited, I think, about me being willing. So yeah, I think for a good friend of mine, Sherry Rigby, she said, your 20s are years where you struggle around kind of in the wilderness, wondering what the heck you're going to do with your life. Your
Right.
30s, you're grounded, but you're still curious. And in your 40s, you're free.
Wow.
And I said, ooh, I like that.
I
So I'm
like
kind of in
that.
the wilderness. I'm kind of in the wilderness right now. And I know that this is a season, but I'm kind of excited about what tomorrow looks like because I have no idea.
I'm the same way, and I'm in my 40s, so apparently I'm in the free stage.
Awesome.
I will definitely check out that Letting Go, and I'm sure a lot of people will as well. For some reason, I don't know how I missed that one, so I'll have to do that.
It's a
So
fun little story.
yeah, I'm looking forward to. Can you tell us about The Perfect Wave and how you think this film will impact people's lives?
Do you want to know about like the storyline or
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So the story is pretty cool. It's based on a real situation, a real events that happened in the life of a man named Ian McCormick. He was young, he was living in New Zealand, and he decided he wanted to surf around the world after watching the movie Endless Summer, which is about basically chasing summer across the globe. and got inspired and wanted to find the best waves, find the best parties, find the best drugs, find the best of everything that he thought was, life and living. And so he set out in his early 20s, and he did just that. He went and he traveled the world with his buddy, and they came into some really great countries, and they met some awesome people, had pretty intense experiences. But Ian, and he falls in love, which I play his love interest, Annabelle, in the story. And throughout all of that, he's still just like trying to get on to the next thing, to experience this next rush or this next fit of passion. And he, he's not happy. He's tired, and he's really just kind of filling this emptiness that he doesn't understand is never going to be filled with these types of things. We're not designed for that. And so he unfortunately, runs, into some trouble towards the end of the film and ends up losing his life. And so the great thing about the story is it has a happy ending. But the reality is that he did die and had an encounter in the afterlife and met Jesus face to face. And it's about the events that led up to that and how it changed his life after he was given another chance in his natural body. So it's a pretty powerful story, and it's shot beautifully. A lot of surfing. We brought in some professional surfers who work for Billabong and Roxy, the female brand of Billabong, and Rosie Hodge, Matt Bromley. They are just incredible people who can surf like crazy. They're just since they were like 4 years old, and had them around all the time. So like we had a blast, and the story just, the story is fun. It's a love story. It's also a love story about a man and a woman. It's a love story about this relationship that he discovers in an encounter with his creator and an encounter with Jesus, and in all kinds of ways. It's all about the love of a son and a mother. And so I think it's just a powerful story that will resonate with people in all walks of life.
I agree, especially since it's a true story. That does make a difference, as well as the fact that it's one that can cross over where anyone really can be interested in it.
Mhm.
So what prompted you to accept the role of Annabelle, and was it difficult preparing for the role?
Usually, if I'm approached with a script or a project, I read it pretty quickly. I get excited about it. I get like my heart starts racing, and I just get who's about to go to Disney World. I'm just so
Nice.
excited about what it might be. I haven't, and then sometimes I'm really disappointed, and I'm like, well, that was a hype for nothing. And sometimes I'm still shaking after I read it because I'm like, I get to do this for a living. I get to help tell this story. And I read the script for Perfect Wave after Bruce McDonald, the director, um, reached out to a mutual friend, and I loved it. I thought, I loved the story. The script, a little work, and they were hiring writers and bringing on some people to kind of get the story more accurate to Ian's experience, but
Right.
also make it family friendly.
Right.
So that was I think that was a difficult thing, was mastering the real story, which was probably R-rated, and making it like a family film that ultimately would bring people to a place of knowing who Jesus is. So there's always that line, but I didn't think about that stuff when I read the script. I was like, immediately, I trust my gut about things, and I always have in this industry, and it's never led me down the wrong path. I know that the Lord always has a reason to prompt me, but I feel like my spirit just said yes. So I always just, that's my method, and preparing for it was easy because I knew I was in the right place.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense. So are there any other upcoming faith projects that you're involved with that you can tell us about?
Let's see. There's a film coming out, probably, I don't know if it's going straight to DVD or if we're going to have a theatrical release, called 77 Chances, which we filmed last spring. And that is starring Matthew Cheney, who just did a modern day Joseph story called Seasons of Grey. So he and
Excellent.
I play the leads in that one, and it was coalition. It was a kind of a team effort with Echo Light Pictures and Liberty University's Zaki Art Center, Cinematic Arts Center. They have an incredible cinematic program for their students. So
Yes.
this was like a student endeavor that ended up looking like $1 million.
Great.
Because they had great gear, really humble people to work with, and they made a great little movie. And that one is called 77 Chances, and I think it will be released in the fall. I did a film called Mountaintop, which is written and directed by Gary Wheeler, based on a novel by Robert Whitlow, who is a prolific Christian fiction author based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. And the film is basically a story of a man who is gifted with dreams and prophecy and what his life looks like in this little tiny community he lives in, and he gets in a little trouble. So the film is about the courtroom and dealing with this man that everybody thinks is crazy, and I play the assistant district attorney in that one, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. So these are family friendly films that I've done that will be coming out this year. But I also have a handful of projects that are just really great stories that I really believed in and wanted to be a part of that aren't faith based. They might be faith based if you look at the whole picture in
Right.
terms of, you know, the story of the gospel being about redemption and grace and forgiveness. It all has elements of these things. I generally don't like doing projects that don't move in that direction.
That makes
Um,
sense.
they tend to stick with me a little bit too much if they're too dark. And don't get me wrong, I love a dark, raw story that has a silver lining for sure. And I hope to do projects like that more. And opportunities have been coming where I have been able to do them. And it's giving me so much joy to be able to do both and tell great stories, you know, regardless where the writer comes from or um, what their faith background is. I think that elements of who Jesus is in the gospel of grace and redemption, and I'll say it again, redemption, 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 resonate with people in ways that I don't think anything else does.
That's
So,
absolutely true.
yeah, so those are the projects that I'm attracted to, and those are the ones that my gut says, yep.
Is there something you would like to share with the Christian Film Database listeners that you haven't already covered?
Hmm. There's, I'm pretty active on social media. Like, I get involved with projects and, you know, I love interacting with my fans and figuring out ways to get them, you know, have them know that they're the most important thing when we're trying to promote a movie or we're trying to get the story told. Their word of mouth is powerful.
Yes.
Their passion for the projects are powerful. So I'm just excited that I have the tools to connect with my fans online or with Twitter. That's been really fun. So I'm not, you know, I'm not able to write everybody back, but I almost can. Like I'm close to being able to write everybody back unless your email's just weird. So I
That's
get a
great.
little bit of that. So yeah, feel free to reach out if something has moved you or you want to know more about a project. I try to keep everybody up to date.
So how can they find you on social media?
I'm on Twitter as Rachel Drix, Racheldrix, and Instagram, same thing. Um, I am also on Facebook on a fan page, so you can just look me up as Rachel Hendrix fan page. And yeah, that's, you know, I have seasons where I can be really interactive and seasons where I'm on set and I'm missing for a month. But it's great that we have the tools to connect so well, human to human, in this day and age. So I'm excited to stay involved in that way.
Absolutely. Again, Rachel, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. You have been listening to CFDb Interviews. For more about CFDB, please check out our website at christianfilmdatabase.com.